Hello and welcome to the Daily News Simplified, an answer to all your questions. Where is Mehek ma'am? Well, here I am today. And today we are celebrating the second anniversary of the DNS. Today, in this special anniversary video, I'm going to talk to you about what happens behind the curtain in making the DNS as we see it today. In the process, we'll be taking up some questions which you have frequently asked us, and will also throw light as to how we prepare ourselves for the ultimate test of the day. So let's begin with our first question. Here we have Naved sir. He is the oldest member of the DNS team and don't go by his looks. So sir, tell us, how did the journey of DNS actually start?
Well, the journey of DNS started in a very different way. We never thought that we will actually making these videos of the Hindu newspaper. But ultimately the whole idea was to bring to the students something in a very simplified format or in a very simplified version. So ultimately we jot down to the Hindu newspaper because students relate to the Hindu newspaper, because for them this is the bread and butter of UPSC. So that's how the whole idea of DNS came to be.
And here we are today celebrating the second anniversary of DNS. So sir, tell us, what were the few challenges you faced while moving on in this journey of DNS?
The first challenge itself was that how shall we make these videos? Who will make these videos? First of all, I thought that how can I make a video? It's not at all possible for me to come to a screen and say something. So the first challenge was to get adapt to these different technical aspects such as handling the software as well as recording the aspects. We used to fumble so much, we still do. Every day we fumble so many times which you do not know. See, I'm fumbling right now. So that's the point. These were the real challenges, and we tried to overcome all these aspects slowly. But effectively, these challenges were overcome over a period of time.
So sir, tell us, how long does it actually take to make the video?
Frankly, 12 hours. But the point is, these 12 hours includes everything, including editing. Yes, we edit ourselves the entire video, and Mehek knows the pain of it, and everyone knows the pain of it. So the whole point is that when we make these videos, it comes in a very raw format. So what we have to do is to edit these videos so that it can come out in a very presentable manner, because we are very afraid of your comments.
That's true. And what about uploading, sir? Does it also take additional time?
Well, that is another story, and that is another part of the challenge. Once the recording as well as editing of the whole news is completed, as you know, Mehek, then we come to the question part. Thinking of the questions, and we are also aware that even if a slight mistakes happen, either while framing the question, Mehek knows it well, and all of us knows it well.
IUCN status of the tortoise.
Yes. Or if we give you certain incorrect answers. So we are really afraid of your comments. At the same time, we also appreciate your comment. But coming to the point, from the point we record those questions till the time we put all those things in the frame and put it for upload or rendering, it takes almost close to 70 to 80 odd minutes. So after completion of the entire video, there is another lag of 70 to 80 minutes. Now here another challenge, Mehak, is that we don't own the internet. So at times YouTube gets stuck. There are at times technical issues such as internet. So due to that also there are certain delays at times, and we are very afraid of your comments, specifically with respect to delay. But one thing I really want to assure you, that this delay is not on our part. That is something which is inevitable in the entire process itself. But the whole idea is to give you quality content. True. Which is actually important.
We don't compromise on the
and
quality.
Relevant from your UPSC perspective.
Okay sir, thank you. So that was for our first question. Let's move on to another team member. So here we are with our second member, Mangal sir.
Hello.
He is seriously the most jovial and chilled out person on the DNS team. Don't go by his serious looks on the video.
Meg is just kidding. I'm really serious.
You will
Similar
see.
to the way I look into the videos.
No, you will see that right now. So sir, tell us, did you have any kind of inkling or an idea that DNS will grow into such a huge thing in these 2 years?
Well, when I started back in April 2018, we just had 3,000 views on our videos. But I was convinced that this will have a good connect with the aspirants. That is mainly because UPSC requires you to be very good with the current affairs. And current affairs portion was the biggest challenge for each and every student who is preparing for the UPSC exam. And that is why I thought this will come handy for each and every aspirant of UPSC. And that is mainly because we are so much concerned with the Hindu newspaper, and most of the people have difficulty in understanding that. And that was the idea that I had at that point, that it will grow up in coming years. And here we are, now we have reached 30,000 views, and we get most of your comments every time. And thank you so much for watching these videos.
So what are a few things which you have added in these 2 years to make DNS a much better product?
See, when we started, it was very simplistic. The video was of only 19 minutes to 15 minutes in the starting. And
now it has crossed 1 minute. That was 1 hour, sorry. That was
recently my video was 1 hour 2 minutes. So after that, we started adding on to the background of the issues. Then we added the previous year questions, preliminary and the mains examination. We started giving structure of various questions, and also in the end this thing evolved into giving you the 5 practice questions at the end of the discussion. So that is how it evolved, and a lot of things got added. Every team member contributed to this, and that is how it has reached this place.
So sir, not just DNS, what about you? What has your journey been like in these past 2 years? How have you grown as being associated with the DNS?
It has been a bit difficult because I have to sit in one place for 12 hours to prepare this video. However, it has been a great learning experience for me as well, because I have been through this journey and I know what challenges the students face, and that is why I try to make it very comfortable for these students to understand it, easy to understand, simplify things, and that is how I have learned and I have grown over the period of time in the last 1.5 years, I guess.
And what about the thing that now, does it happen with you when you go out to Rajendra Nagar?
Oh, definitely.
Do people recognize you?
Once I was buying something from a shop in Rajendra Nagar and there were 2-3 students, so I've seen you on a video, and I thought, oh my god, people are now recognizing us. So that is, but that comes with a great responsibility as well. And there's another instance when I was having a coffee at a cafe, me and Ankur sir, and there was a person who was waiting us on the table. He came and he asked us, "Are you Ankur sir and Mangal sir?" And we were shocked. And then he told us that I watch your videos of DNS and you're doing an amazing job. And I asked him, "Are you preparing for the UPSC?" And he said yes. So that is the reach of DNS, that it is reaching every person, every section and every part of our country.
Not just,
and that is what makes it a big responsibility on our part to give you the quality that is required for UPSC exam.
And we assure you, we are working very, very hard to deliver to you that good quality.
And each and every member of the team is working very hard, extremely hard, to give you the best product that is possible.
So sir, thank you so much. Now that we are done with Mangal sir, let us move to our third team member. Next, let's move on to the king of DNS, Baswa sir. And it is Baswa, not Basawa. So Baswa sir, tell us, how do you prepare yourself for the D-Day?
Well, actually, before the presentation of the DNS, the preparation starts one day before the presentation of the DNS. One day before the presentation of the DNS, we go through various sources such as the Hindu mobile app, the PIB, etc. just to know as to what articles are likely to appear in the next day's newspaper. On the actual day of the DNS presentation, we normally get up early in the morning.
What, 1 o'clock?
No, 5:36
oh,
o'clock.
5:36, okay.
And then we try to reach office as early as around 8 a.m. And then we identify the most important articles for that particular day. Out of the identified articles, we normally pick up the most important article for that particular day, carry out a thorough research on that particular article, and then start presenting that particular article. Normally, it so happens that the other team members pitch in by around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then we sit together and then identify the various articles that has to be presented on that particular day's DNS.
So sir, tell us, is it a one-man army who does the entire DNS for that day, or is it more like a teamwork?
Do you think it's humanly possible for one particular person to do the DNS?
I just have to ask the question.
Actually, it's a collective team effort. So let's say if I am presenting the DNS for that particular day, I may end up preparing 1 or 2 articles depending upon my area of expertise. It's usually the other team members who would help me identify the important articles for the day according to their area of expertise. Not only would they help me in identifying the articles, they would also prepare the articles. So the actual DNS that you see, it's not an effort of a single person. It's rather the collective effort of all the team members. So the best part of the DNS here is every team member is pitching in terms of the identification of the articles as well as the
So it's not
contribution
just
of the
the
article.
person you see on the screen who's presenting, it's everybody in the DNS team or even other members
Yes,
for that matter
yes.
who come and help us to make the DNS what it is.
Yes, exactly.
So sir, let's say the entire, I know it is a very tedious process to
Yes,
sit in
exactly.
front of the screen for 12
12
hours.
hours.
And let's say finally by 7 and 8 you are done, you have clicked on the live button. So does the story end there?
I don't think the story ends there. The story actually starts.
Begins from there.
Begins from there. It so happens that we eagerly keep awaiting for the students' comments. We believe that the students are an integral part of how the DNS has progressed over the last
Evolved
2
over
years.
2 years, yes.
It is because of the various inputs given by the students that you can see the DNS has come to a level where it exists today. So we keep eagerly awaiting for the students' comments.
Feedback per se, we even get up into...
I normally get up around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night just to find out if there are any adverse comments.
And
on
you
the
also
videos.
get nightmares of
Obviously,
the DNS.
obviously.
That sir is not able to complete his DNS for
Yes,
the day. That's
yes.
his actual dream.
Yeah. This is one of the nightmare actually.
Okay, and so I think we have cleared the point that whatever comments you write to us, we actually take them into consideration. Whatever suggestions you give us, we try to inculcate
Yes,
them as
exactly.
much as possible. So we welcome all your valuable feedback, and I hope we continue on this journey because
Yes.
you viewers are an amazing an integral part of
Yes.
this journey. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Now
you.
let's move on to another member. Next, let's talk to the most recent entry on the DNS team, Mr. Vaibhav Mishra.
Hi.
So Vaibhav, being the most recent member, what are the few things you like or dislike about DNS?
So I frankly like the kind of pampering which goes around when I'm making the DNS. So on the day of the DNS, the whole team is so supportive and they treat you like the king or the boss of the company that day. So I really like that. Apart from that, on a serious note, I really like the fact that through DNS, we touch so many lives. Now thousands of students are dependent on us and we are helping in their preparation in such a big way. And somewhere around it also brings upon us a deep sense of responsibility because that shows that we have to be extremely precise in the way we communicate our information, and it sometimes also induces a kind of tension
Anxiety, jitters.
Yes, exactly, while making videos. So
And what about the few comments? What do you have to say about the comments which you received?
So obviously people are missing Mehak ma'am. So and that shows on our videos with absolutely no fault of ours. But having said that, I think some of the comments in which the comparisons of new entrants were made with the old faculties, obviously people love you and other people very much, and they were scared of the fact that we have replaced you. So that somehow discouraged in the initial few videos, but gradually I think people are accepting us.
No, of course it's a journey for you.
Yes.
Vaibhav has taken all your suggestions into consideration as
I'm trying
has
to take, yes.
improved drastically. On the same note, I think a lot of comparison has been made, but what people do not understand that getting into the shoes of DNS is not an easy task. It takes a lot of time to get equipped with the software and the way you're presenting or with the interface as well. So I think with time, DNS is something which requires time. I remember my first video.
Yes.
You should go back to my first video and see the comments I got. So I think if I compare it with that, you're at a very sweet spot and you're doing extremely well.
Thank you.
And what about the positive comments which you get? I'm sure not all are negative.
I take screenshots and send it to my friends.
Okay, Vaibhav, thank you so much. So this was Vaibhav. Let us now move to our next member. Next, let us talk to Mr. Arun Bhardwaj, who brings a lot on the table in terms of the experience he has with the UPSC. So Arun, out of your experience and your journey with the UPSC, can you tell us how the students can use DNS as a tool in their preparation?
Now coming to the significance of DNS, during our preparation, we used to spend a substantial amount of time in reading the newspaper and also understanding as to what are the important things that has to be picked up from the newspaper. And honestly, it would take like more than half a day for me in the first 6 months.
It still happens for a lot of students these days as well.
Yes, so it takes more than half a day, at least for first 6 months, which eventually which effectively means that you're losing out on at least 1 or 2 attempts in understanding what has to be read in the newspaper. So through DNS, what we're trying to do is basically direct the students as to how to read the newspaper and what elements in the news, in a particular news, has to be picked up. And two, the civil services examination does not differentiate between a fresher or a veteran.
Very true.
And there are certain background information that is extremely necessary while reading the newspaper, which may not be directly available in a particular article or in a news item. So what we here in the team in the DNS team do is to essentially compile all the background information that is necessary to understand a particular news item and deliver it in the simplest form possible, but also keeping in view the requirements of the examination. So that it's in the it's easier for the students and it is in a usable form, which can be directly replicated in the examination. So our quest has always been that we deliver quality content along with the background information, which can be used by the student in his preparation.
So Arun, another question which we keep on getting from our students is that whether DNS is a replacement for newspaper reading?
Certainly not. There is no replacement for a newspaper reading. But what DNS can certainly give you is a direction in which the newspaper has to be read. And it cuts short a lot of time for the students in order to in terms of picking up the right news, and also in terms of collecting the material, and also it gives you a lot of background information that is generally not available in the newspaper, or if the student resorts to such a exercise, will take a lot of time. Which may not be possible given the paucity of time, which is a big challenge in the examination. So in that sense, DNS will certainly help a student, will prepare a student towards effective newspaper reading in the coming days.
Okay, thank you so much, Arun. So I hope that answers your question whether DNS is a replacement for newspaper reading or not, and the answer is certainly no. As Arun has stated, the main idea behind DNS is that you should be in a better position to understand which news to pick up and to study the news and to study those news in what format. So you can take the help of DNS. So the idea is to first read the newspaper in the morning and then relate it with the DNS and see whether you are on the right track, whether you are reading the newspaper in the right fashion or not. So thank you so much, Arun. Let's move to our next member. So the next person we are going to talk to is somebody who usually gets confused for being Mangal sir when he makes a video in anonymity. However, he is not Mangal sir. He is Nagendra Pratap sir, the man in charge here. So sir, let us hear it directly from the horse's mouth. What has DNS been able to achieve in the past 1 year?
Oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. At the same time, let me tell you that we are just getting warmed up.
I can already feel the heat.
And there are much more bigger things that are going to come your way. And trust me, this will be a life-changing experience for all of you. But at the same time, let's talk about what we have done in the last 1 year. So statistically, if we talk about, we have produced around 200 to 220 hours of current affairs. And when we talk about this current affairs, this is highly curated, standardized. And when we talk about standardized, it actually goes on to hit a very sweet spot at the strike rate examination.
So sir, tell us not just about the strike rate and the database we have, how do you ensure to maintain the quality of DNS?
The simplest tool to maintain consistency in quality for DNS is to ensure that we do syllabus mapping. And once we do syllabus mapping, and previous year question relation as well. So this is how we maintain good balance between what should be covered, how to be covered, and how much to be covered. And if we go through the strike rate as well, as mentioned earlier, so in the prelims of last year, around 25 to 27 questions were there from the DNS itself.
Oh wow, that's a huge number.
Yes, it is, and it's a
we should give a pat on our backs.
Yes, definitely. If I can add Focus magazine, I can add prelims test series, and if I talk about the prelims compass, then the strike rate is as high as 52 to 53 questions.
Oh my god, that's a pretty huge number.
Yes. And we are now doing the mains test series analysis as well. And you must have seen that we've already shared good 20 to 12 questions coming from straight from the DNS discussions. So this is something which is a strength of the entire system.
And so what about from the last 1 year, what one thing which you have added is to give prelims question at the end of the video. What do you want to say about that?
Actually, we wanted to organize our effort. When we say organize our effort, we wanted the questions to be there at one point, and this is one of the comment and the feedback that which we have received. Now, when we are doing this thing, we are doing 3 to 4 questions on a daily basis, and in last 1 year, we have done around 1,500
Wow,
questions.
that's a huge number of questions. We have such a big database and data bank. So, sir, enough of questions from me to you. Do you have any question for our viewers?
Yes, actually, I have. And we want to know how DNS has changed your preparation for the civil examination, what problems we have solved, and do let us know about what kind of a changes you want to see in the time to come as well. We take your feedback very seriously and we'll try to incorporate as much as possible. So do mention in your comments.
So these were the people you actually see on your TV screen. Let me now take you and introduce you to all those people who are the part of the RNI team. Come on, let's go. So this is the entire RNI team of Raus IAS. We might be the face of DNS, but it is these people who are the backbone and the pillar of RNI here at Raus IAS, without whose contribution we would not have been able to deliver DNS so consistently for the past 2 years.
And we want you to be consistent in your promises as well. Last time you promised that you will bring sweets to us, and some of you commented as well, but at the same time we haven't received any. Some of you have actually shared your success, but we haven't received any sweets. So we have any kind of preference?
Dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate.
Any more preferences?
Sweets.
So, oh.
But
So please do
bring-
not forget this.
Please bring sweets for your whole DNS team and wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And we hope that you really achieve success with respect to civil services examination.
And with your contribution and with your support, we hope we celebrate many more birthdays for the DNS in the time to come. So from all of us, cheers.
All the very best.
All the very best.